work with you to create the perfect setting for every part of your event.
Wow, this is perfect. Our Arena really nailed it.
Yes, they did. Visit us at 116 Obafemi Awolowo Way, Iyanolibatio, Kado Ibadan, or call 0809 360 7888 or 0706 899 4970 to book your event today. Our Wenny Arena Event Center is where your event finds its perfect fit.
Stay ahead of the curve and get updates on the latest trends in politics, government, policies, education, economy, social development, amongst others.
We're happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage.
Join
Ayodeji Ajishope
and
Adedamola Lafenwa
on from the dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
It's another beautiful Monday morning in the big and beautiful city of Ibadan, day number 22 in the month of September 2025. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa. With so much pleasure and excitement, I welcome you to From the Dailies on your number one radio dial, Solutions and 93.9 FM, the program where we get to take you through the front page stories of different newspapers. And live in the studio with me this beautiful Monday morning, I have Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope. Good morning to you, Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope.
Yes, believe you me, it's a brand new week, it's a brand new day, and it is a Monday, and of course it's great to be back here.
And I hope you had a very restful weekend.
Yes, I did, even while walking.
Okay, wow. Like some people say, Okay, moving to the papers this morning now. I have the Punch newspaper, I have the Vanguard newspaper, the Platform Times, the Nigerian Tribune, and of course the Nation newspaper. Not forgetting the Guardian newspaper too. Starting off with the front page of the Punch newspaper, and the biggest story is coming from Rivers State. It says IBAS rejects Assembly's move to probe 6-month spending. I found that one amusing and alarming at the same time. I mean, looking at the riders, ex-administrator insists lawmakers lack power to question tenor. Imagine. CSOs urge Fubara to hold IBAS accountable. That story found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Moving further, we have this one saying crude supply to domestic refineries hits 67.6 million barrels. Page 33 has that story. Borno terrorist attack victims hospitalized in Cameroon. Page 9 of the Punch newspaper. Taking a quick look at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. From the cap headlines, I have this one saying, $10 to Dapman, your business model outdated. Dangote transforming petroleum sector.
We said it, yeah. I mean, the man said it anyway months ago.
Yes, sir.
They were not adapting. Like they were still in the days of the military when Lupeng held Sui, and when Peng Gassin and all the rest of them.
Could hold the whole nation by the jugular. Okay. And to add to that, still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, there is this one that says crude oil imports hit record high as Dangote refinery reshapes trade flow. This is quite interesting too. Both stories are found on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving away from that to the Nigerian Tribune, I have this one saying, Oni Ladoja emphasize the need for unity among Abas in Yoruba land. I tell you, the Ondo street in Bodija has become more like a mecca of such because a lot of people have been paying homage, and this is about the first time I will see any Olubado designate receiving these huge VVIPs.
Not just the Olubado designate. I cannot remember in Nigeria's recent history a man is a king designate, maybe even a sultan designate, and you have this continuous, constant stream of top notch.
I mean, very, very important people
Paying homage. This is a man that...
and that tells a lot about the man himself.
Yes.
Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja.
Yes, Damola. Brilliant. And he has been consistent. He has been very consistent. In academics, he was brilliant. He was admitted to Olivet Heights by Reverend JBP. He was late, but when the man saw his result, he said, "No, the day's principals were principals. No, I'm not going to let this one go. Bring it back." And he got a scholarship. Went to Belgium to study engineering. Came into the corporate world. Did very well. That's the second space. And then he moved into entrepreneurship. A successful entrepreneur. Then came into the political space. Became a senator. Eventually became a governor. He was impeached. Fought back. That's the third space. And here we are. Royalty.
I mean, looking at the likes of Nericha coming to see him. Sometime last week we had the likes of Peter Obi, Obasanjo, the likes of Mimiko. And, I mean, too numerous names to mention.
And when Dr. Yemi Faromi went there with Professor Adeniro and one other intellectual, he said, I'm going to need your support. I need the support of the intellectuals. And those who said, look, this is the Nigeria's intellectual capital. You are one of us. So we're doing this together.
Okay, it's still from the Dailies and Solutions at 93.9 FM. Because of our time, it's 9:41. Let's go straight to the business of the day. On Friday, comrade, we talked about the resumption of Siminalaye Fubara, the governor of Rivers State. He was the suspension was elapsed on Thursday. And he didn't show up at the office. We spoke about that on this platform on Friday morning. But later on that Friday, he showed up and he addressed, he had a statewide broadcast on that same day when he resumed. And let's take a listen at some of the things he said, because some of the things he said, the context of that broadcast made a lot of Rivers people are reading meanings to that. Some are saying, with what we've heard from that broadcast, this man looked already boxed or caged. Let's take a listen at the broadcast.
My dear good people of Rivers State, you will recall that Rivers State was placed under a 6 months emergency rule declared by Mr. President, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, on the 18th of March 2025, following the intense political crisis in our state. It is without doubt that the 6 months had been enormously challenging for our dear state under the emergency rule. As your governor, I accepted to abide by the state of emergency declaration and choose to cooperate with Mr. President and the National Assembly, guided by my conviction that no sacrifice was too great to secure peace, stability, and progress of Rivers State. This was why I also resisted the pressure to challenge the constitutionality of the declaration of the state of emergency, the suspension of democratic institutions, and all other action that we endured during the difficult period. In the course of this 6 months period, Mr. President graciously brokered the peace process with all the parties successfully. Our leader, His Excellency Onyesom Ezenwawike, CON, all members of Rivers State House of Assembly, and I, as your governor, have all accepted to bury the hatchet and embrace peace and reconciliation in the best interest of our dear state. We believe the political crisis is now behind us and that peace and stability have once again returned to Rivers State, though not without the hard lessons learned from the emergency rule. The responsibility now rests squarely on us, the government, the State House of Assembly, the political leaders, the stakeholders, to put aside our differences, work for the common good, advance the interests of our people above all else. We have a duty to ensure that the peace we have all embraced remain permanent in our dear states. On behalf of the government and the good people of Rivers State, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. President for his fatherly disposition and decisive intervention in resolving the political crisis and for graciously restoring full democratic governance to our states. Personally, I will never take Mr. President's kindness for granted, and for that, I hereby reaffirm my utmost loyalty and eternal gratitude. To those who have expressed genuine fear, frustration, and uncertainty over the nature of the peace process, I assure you that your concerns are valid and understood. However, nothing has been irretrievably lost. There remain ample opportunity for necessary adjustment, continued reconciliation, and inclusiveness. We must all remember the saying, the costless peace is cheaper than the cheapest war. Accordingly, let us therefore embrace this moment as a fresh beginning. Let us work together with renewed hope and determination to build a stronger, more peaceful, and prosperous River State. I assure you that we will continuously work together, ensuring that we carry everyone along. Despite the turbulence, you are aware of the credible milestone our administration achieved in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and other key sectors over the last 2 years. Our immediate responsibility is to return to the path of governance and development by completing the projects which we started, by ensuring that none of them is starved of fund or neglected, thereby reviving our economy, protecting life and property, and improving the well-being of all Rivers people. I commit to working harmoniously with the Rivers State House of Assembly to recover lost grounds and accelerate the social and economic advancement of our dear state. I also renew my pledge to serve with the fear of God, humility, and a high sense of duty. I wish to sincerely thank you, the resilient people of Rivers State, for your patience, your courage, your peaceful conduct during the 6 months of emergency rule. I also extend appreciation to all stakeholders, religious leaders, traditional rulers, civil society groups, political actors, women groups, youth, concerned citizens at home and abroad, and well-wishers who prayed and sustained us through the challenging period. Above all, let us draw strength from our shared identity as Rivers people. Our diversity is our greatest asset, and our unity the strongest guarantee of our future. We must rise above bitterness and division and channel our energy into rebuilding trust, fostering inclusiveness, and securing a peaceful and prosperous state for all.
Sir Siminalaye Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, there during a statewide broadcast when he resumed office after suspension on Friday. That was his address to the state. But a lot of political analysts have picked holes from that broadcast, saying that the Fubara they saw on that broadcast is a caged and a boxed man. And one of them even said that the piece that Fubara is referring to is more like a graveyard piece. Let's take a listen at two reactions to that effect. One is coming from a political analyst, and the second one is from Madam Ankil Briggs. Let's take a listen.
Okay, first of all, why did the first attempt at making peace fail? Why did it fail? It failed because it was seen by most stakeholders in the state as an unfair and unjust imposition of conditions for peace. Now, when they say to us, oh, we've signed the peace agreement, do we understand or know the terms of this agreement? On one hand, you have the FCT minister saying, oh, the governor is free to do whatever he wants. But then you got a hint when he said there was nothing that said he should have returned the day he was returned to power. Okay? It tells you I'm not going to nominate any commissioner or anybody for him. But you and I know, of course. So not until we get to know the terms of peace and who is to do what, all we have right now is the peace of the cemetery. And trust me, in the coming days, we are going to see. Look, first of all, and I want you to take note of this and write it down. The governor is going to defect any moment from now to the APC. If he doesn't do that, that would be another reason for conflict. The governor is just been busting. He doesn't have any power left. The only reason why he's been let in is because they couldn't extend the emergency rule. And now he's back. It doesn't have any power. The state house assembly is just going to do basically what they want. The local government chairman are just going to act like they're his boss. But look, if that gives Rivers State the peace, the people of Rivers State the peace just to go about their private businesses, it's fine. And like Prof said, this is only for a season. Okay? But we have to go back to constitutionalism. And I keep saying this, and people don't understand until it happens to them. The FCT minister was once the governor of the state. For 8 years, nobody dictated anything. In fact, nobody could tell him he was like king over the state. And he was the governor. We saw that happen. But he wants to do it to someone after he had promised on national television so many times he doesn't believe in godfatherism. And once he leaves, he's going to leave. And now, because his politics is right, he's getting the help from the federal government because of political calculation.
Right.
But what we are doing to ourselves as a country is that we are destroying constitutional democracy. There is no arrangement outside of the constitution that should make someone who is not the governor to become more powerful than the governor in the state. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no peace in River State. We're just deceiving ourselves.
Comrade, you listen to that political analyst giving a clear picture of what is likely to happen in the coming days now that Fubara is returned. He made mention of the content of that peace agreement, that the agreement, whatever the agreement is or was, that Fubara entered into, must have turned him into a puppet. And before I get your own perspective, let's take a listen at what Madam Ankil Briggs also had to say concerning that agreement entered into.
We are not clear on the terms and agreement. What we're getting are rumors. You have heard the governor speak to the people of River State. He's spoken once on Friday when he arrived. He has spoken again in the church. And at no time do we have categorically a statement either from him or from the other players, the assembly members, the local government chairman, and every other politician exactly what the agreements are. I think it's not acceptable when politicians make these agreements over our heads. It's like shaving the head of someone behind their back. We are the people that have paid the greatest price in all of these things, and to not be aware of the decisions which will affect us, and therefore we can't gauge to what extent these decisions will affect us, it becomes very difficult to flow with the politicians. Because it's just an impossible situation right now where we find ourselves, where we don't know what the president has insisted on, we don't know what has been agreed upon, and where does that leave the people of River State? So we need to know what has been agreed on, and also the very grave issue of accountability from IBAS. He has to account to the people of River State, even to Nigerians, for the sake of integrity and for the sake of justice and fairness, because you can't come into a state, get a hold of all their resources and funds, stay there for 6 months, and just walk away as if you were never there.
All right, comrade, you have the floor now.
Tamala, it's always beautiful hearing people, from the comfort of their homes, air-conditioned offices, airing their
views.
Views, naturally. Politics is not a game of chance. It's a game that is played in a manner by the people who play it seriously. That their life depends on it. You see, it's a game of calculations. You must know the end from the beginning. It's only God that has all the description. But in politics, you must know the end from the beginning, and then you start working towards it. When they are now talking about agreement, and we don't know the content of the agreement, may I ask, when Fubara was single-handedly picked by Wike, did they know the terms and conditions? Did they ask?
That he entered with Wike?
Yes, did they ask? Did they know? Did they ask? And by political reality, Fubara was director from deputy director, and he was made a permanent secretary. And I don't know, Accountant General.
Yeah,
and then he became, when he was subsequently. And we also recall that EFCC was looking for him. He had to stay in government house for months on end until he was elected. He was elected, and after he was elected, it was when he was sworn in that he now came out. So he probably would have been picked up. You understand? Now, all this, we don't know the terms of the agreement. He has been caged. Look, Even common sense, not even wisdom at all. I mean, you are suspended, and then you know it was federal might, and then you know it was political machinations. What would you do? You come back. Okay, even if he has a cause, a just cause to fight, will you come back and start spitting fire in his first address? Does even common sense accommodate that? You understand? Did you expect him he is caged? We do not see him doing anything. I don't think that is even fair by any means. So, you know, the first thing the man did that showed that he had learned some lessons. The day was expected, people were in their gear, coming at the gate of the government to come and meet him, beating drums and all of that. The man made sure he was not available in town, not even in the country. You understand? That was I knew the man had learned some lessons. You go there, start waving and doing what? When you know the Christians. That's look.
I saw the video.
Now let us ask ourselves: all these people, when the man was the night he was suspended, it was in the evening like this towards nightfall, so that the military can move in with their muzzle and all of that. The man had to go to Yenogua to seek refuge.
With the Doye Diri.
It's going to be impossible to invade government house and pick him up.
Definitely.
You understand? That was why he headed to Yenogua. How many visited him? How many visited him? And those who could not visit him, how many called him? You understand? And the welfare and everything. You know, they are urging him on fight. But at the same time, Fubara, the man that picked him, you understand? He knew he had no troops. That is politics. Politics. In Lagos, Bola Tinubu was speaking. There was already a master plan for development in Lagos. Wherever you come from, you must stick to it.
To that plan.
To that plan. You understand? Lagos is not somewhere you just come and start doing what you like. That's a development plan. 25 years. It has been moderated to 35 years now. So, but Rivers, the man picked him. Like Tinubu was picking them, but he was picking people with mere stealing. Even if you are stealing trillions, there are things that are worse than stealing. Bending the rules. It is basically bending the rules to suit, question anything now. So they now went and, politicians now, they went and struck a deal. It's a deal. And the man, and look at the choice of words of Fubara. Fubara said, continued reconciliation. You understand? It's a process.
And he said some necessary adjustments will be made. Apparently, he wasn't talking about the agreement, or was he referring to part of the agreement?
Well, processes as we go, adjustments will have to be made, and adjustments could be either way.
What about the speculations flying around that he might likely defect the APC?
So, what's the big deal about that? Yeah, to the other.
After all, he won't be the first governor to do that.
What was the big deal about that?
And Omo did the same thing.
Delta, whole of Delta, did the same thing. People are busy doing that in Lagos. They are moving. Everybody is moving. Even in Oyo, people are moving on already. You understand? So what's the big deal if it affects all these people? They should look. All those activists, let them go and join political parties. You understand? Or form their own parties. They failed us in 1999. Do you understand? The Southwest, the entire South did not send its first 11 to the National Assembly. If those who fought for democratic governance, chased the military, so to say, in 1999, never dreamt of a total agenda, not to talk of trying to implement it, and now turning around to say,
okay, now, Comrade, because of our time, it's 3 minutes past 10. Still talking about Rivers State. This screaming headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper saying that IBAS rejects Assembly's move to probe 6-month spending. Assembly presided over by the Speaker, Martin Amaule, during the first plenary after the end of emergency rule, said it will investigate the state expenditure during the 6 months of emergency rule, according to the resolutions of the House, to explore the process of knowing what transpired during the emergency rule with regard to spending from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for the award of contracts and other expenditure. Now, reading further, findings by the Punch showed that Rivers State received at least 254.37 billion naira from the Federation Account Allocation Committee between March and August 2025 under the tenure of the sole administrator. Now, with all these things, do we say that saying that, okay, let me read the rider from that statement. Okay, now back to the headline. IBAS rejects Assembly's move to probe 6 months pending. Ex-administrator insists lawmakers lack power to question tenure. Do they lack power to question his tenure?
What if you go further down? The spokesperson said that specifically. I don't think the Constitution of Nigeria, that's why we have free arms.
Because I think he's saying that the National Assembly were the ones he worked with.
And so what?
That is his explanation. That he owes them no explanation.
You know, he's a general. He cannot understand. You see, it's a military mentality.
Why would anyone make such a statement in the public? Say they
man is a general.
Ask you how you spent their own money.
Look at, he's a general. He was appointed by the he didn't see himself as being appointed by the president. He was appointed by the commander-in-chief as an administrator. He said, so the man now went ahead and said, so and is the president unquestionable? The man that appointed him, is he unquestionable?
Do we call that a military mindset?
I mean, why would he say, are you trying to probe the president? The spokesperson went further and said, I say, you want to probe the president? So is the president not accountable to the legislature?
And with these huge funds being allocated, 254.37 billion naira from the month of March to August.
Actually, the assembly alluded to the collusion of the National Assembly on the day they came back. They actually pointed accusing finger
at the National Assembly too,
as complicit. Specifically, they were not
that the Rivers people witnessed siphoning of their funds. They use the word siphoning.
Yeah.
And you and I know what it means to siphon money.
All the agencies of government have their records. We will soon hear what happened. We won't hear it, forget it. We will hear what happened. Because the documents are in Rivers State. And you can trust bureaucrats. You can't destroy this. As they are doing it, they are photocopying it.
Definitely.
Even if you won't go away with the original. So he's just deceiving himself. That's even irresponsibility. Because they cannot prove it.
I mean, I was wondering why any human will say
that. Okay, why was he broadcasting to Rivers when he was going? Why didn't he
just
go to Abuja
and make a... It's 8 minutes past. Now let's go to the oil and gas sector. Now we have this one. I want to join two stories together now. Crude oil imports hit record high as Dangote. Your business model outdated. Dangote transforming petroleum sector. Let's talk about these two stories.
That man, people. Well, let's remove those who own depots. What do they call that? The tank farms.
Tank farms.
Massive things. The extent of how ridiculous the whole setup was to me was when I found out that even an NPC that has 21 depots nationwide was renting tank farms. I say an NPC, oil corporation, renting 60-something cents per barrel. You know what Tedola said it earlier on? And they know that you are not going to frustrate this man in Africa. You are not going to frustrate him. You can't frustrate him. He will pull every string.
Every string.
The man has been embedded. In fact, he said, he has been fighting all his life. People, we said it here about a fortnight ago that people should, recalibrate. Were they not, strategic planning, you understand? When Dangote started the refinery, was the time for them to start their own strategic thinking. Did they think Dangote was not going to complete the refinery? Or did they think the refinery was not going to work? They made effort. He said these people are going to one day wake up and say, we are not lifting. You know, initially, they said they were not going to lift his products. And then the man started selling to West African countries. And then formed alliances with MRS and a few other, retail people. And then they were lifting for him. And he saw the danger. Clearly. The man said, we have the muscle. And in actual fact, in any of these other businesses too, Dangote manufactures the cement. Dangote delivers the cement. You understand? So you remember they were just out. So why don't we just do the same thing in this one? The man granted an interview. And you know what he said? He said, if this is what they want. When they were selling Mobile or Ando, he said it was only for about $500 million. We could have bought everything. So we just have been in production. The man is in storage. All those ones, the man bought the contract. They cannot. So why are they delaying the thing? They will just ask for variation again.
Okay, comrade, let's go to this trending security story. For some weeks now, it's been living larger than life in the north. Looking at the papers this morning, looking at the front page of the Platform Times, a bandit kingpin warns security agencies, kill 10 of us, 20 will arise. Insists military operations worsen violence in Northwest. Warns residents against feeding intelligence kingpin, entering negotiations with the people and with the government itself, saying that okay, I will stop things, and there were
of engagements on different platforms are being made available now. The travels of the president, has taken care of some of these provisions. The so-called Tucano jets that were procured, they were not fighter jets. They were not fighter jets. I don't know who want to. They were not fighter jets. They were being used in Colombia, and it was deployed against.
Before they can apprehend them.
Who is the chief security officer?
Is Mr. President of the country,
of the state,
or the governor.
And so, what are the governors doing? How are the governors allowing that? You understand?
Looking at the pictures, you can see it now. Look at the
They are not in Abuja.
With his men. Look at it with rifles and...
Kaduna State Governor told us that
in open space.
Kaduna State Governor told us they were negotiating with bandits. That was the chief security officer of that state. Katsina State Governor...
Katsina, yes.
Before this one there now, rather, told us that so many local governments had been... taken over. You understand? And you see, intelligence is key. But Amola, the security agencies don't manufacture intelligence. You had the chief of defense staff. What happened in Benue?
Why would a state government be entering negotiations with bandits? What would be the form of what agreement are they signing?
They will have understand this. They won't sign agreement. Of course, I don't understand agreement.
Because there was a particular story, paper that came out last week. I saw it. Wanted banditry kingpin attends peace talks with Katsina as state opts for negotiations with the bandit leader.
Yes, even if you negotiate, it might enable you, figure out certain things. You might want to buy time. You even want to engage.
And that is why the man is now giving.
You think the government would do that without the involvement of
the man is now giving orders saying that
product of that society. It is the product of its society. The Almajiri system that bred unskilled and uneducated in Western form tens of millions. People who, so to say, cannot. They went to the library, a resource center. They stole everything else, but no book was stolen. So, who are the people that has been responsible for that kind of condition to continue to prevail for decades on end in the north since independence?
So, for how long are we going to watch and see this?
Security is not the business of government alone. It cannot be. It has never been, and it will never be. Surveillance was introduced in Europe. It was the senior citizens and the people. I'll give you an example. Diko, former Shawagari minister, had been effectively kidnapped.
Omar Diko.
Umar Diko, he had been kidnapped. It was one of the senior citizens sitting at her window, sipping her tea, that called the police that there's a suspicious movement down my road, and gave the description of the van and gave the registration number. So, would the Metropolitan Police of London, would they have known? Would they have had men patrolling every street? No. But the people are key in intelligence. People are key. Turning this to actionable intelligence, is quick and shorter. So the people do look, and I won't blame the people. It is business. So we should understand it from the point of view of business. When they collect tax, when they say don't do this, don't do it, is business. Okay, the other one that Lukarawa, have you forgotten? Maybe they came to help the people, and then they came around to subdue them. So people too should be vigilant. What kind of? I don't understand. If a stranger comes into a village, you will know now. A community, you will know. What are the people doing? Are they properly sensitized? A word here, a word there, to secure nobody else but ourselves. Just like they say in your state, if you see something,
Let's talk about this last story. Ne Ladoja emphasized need for unity among Albers in Yoruba land. Apparently, talking to the fact that the traditional rulers in Yoruba land should unite instead of claiming we superior and we are not to this and all that. Which throne is to?
Traditional institutions should go and negotiate with their people and put up development plans so that they will get busy.
You mean the Albers, the traditional rulers?
Yeah.
Should get busy.
I mean, the one that came to Ogumosho has developed, come up with a 25-year development plan. One is doing his own. I am sure distinguished Senator Kabiesi Adoja, when he's enthroned, has a clear vision of his role. Everybody must understand his role at a point in time. So we need them to, all these frivolities and bigger than you are. It's unnecessary. It's all about development. Let's key into the vision. What is the state government doing? What can
we can do to better the lives of the people in my kingdom?
I know a king, when he came, he said, yes, you want to be chief or you want to assume the chieftaincy of your family, yes, you must do something for the town. Not that normally you bring money to the palace, and then the king takes his own portion, and then the chiefs share. They say, okay, I don't need your money. You can give money to the chiefs. But you must do something that everybody must see in this town before you assume that role. That's the Lord Mewa. So all of these things, all this frivolity about one title or the other, or I'm superior, I'm the head of this and that. Did you hear what okay, when you say you are superior, in what sense? The story here, the last story in Yoruba land was that it was Ibadan that rescued the whole of the Yoruba